That sucks because like I think back to like Mando season 2, right? We see Luke, and we see him, he's building the new Jedi Order. Like he's in the process of doing it. But we already know that in the sequels it fails, and Rey's gonna be the one that builds the new Jedi Order, which is fucking bullshit, right?
Right.
So like they're like kind of throwing these things in. They're like, oh, this would be cool if this was all contributing to Luke building the Jedi Order, like he did in the book, in the Legacy books.
Yeah.
Like that was great. That was all awesome, and all these things, Bad Batch, Mando, Rebels, all these things could have tied into that amazing sequel trilogy that we should have gotten, but instead it's all tying into these shitty ones, and they're just continuing to try to justify them. And it's like, you can't keep putting a new coat of paint on this piece of shit because it's still a piece of shit at the bottom of it.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Geek Off The Street, your go-to channel for all things from obscure geekdom to modern-day pop culture and everything else in between.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Happy May the 4th.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the lightsabers.
Oh, they're over there. Off camera. But,
Trust us.
Yeah, we have lightsabers.
There would have been some stuff and some swinging. You would have loved it.
But as of right now, as of the time of the recording,
Yes.
it is May the 4th.
Right,
It's
so.
the annual celebration of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're here to do that.
Yeah, so happy May the 4th
Exactly.
to you. Well, I mean, by the time you see
Yeah,
this or
it'll be
hear
a little
this.
But I mean, hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
And celebrated accordingly. He's reaching for it. He's reaching for it. Yeah,
It's just
gotta
right
bring
here.
it on.
Now
yeah.
I gotta see if it'll
It's not working. It's not gonna.
Oh, you know what it is?
Wow. There it is. All right.
There it is, kids.
All right, for all of you guys that are listening, this is useless. But for you guys that are watching, obviously, Mike's got a lightsaber.
Trust, there's some crazy stuff happening with
there
the
is.
swinging and the limbs are being severed.
Yes. But hey, my name's
Blasters.
Trent.
Oh, and my name is Mark.
And this is
Geek Off The Street.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. We're the greatest podcast of all time. We talk about geek culture, pop culture, whatever else we want. Deal with it. This week is no exception.
Right.
Because in honor of Star Wars, May the 4th, we're getting into the newly concluded
Yes.
third season of
Bad Batch.
Yes. Yeah. Just ended last week. Episode
another Dave Filoni. Yeah, they had 15 episodes. There were quite a few episodes. But I guess each season has had
about that
amount,
much.
so,
Yeah, but that Dave Filoni creation, it just concluded. The whole thing concluded, right?
Yeah.
With this third season, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
Let's
before we do
talk
that,
about
what are we drinking this week? This little concoction.
Right, I'm not even waiting
Yeah.
to talk about it. I'm already sipping on it.
Yeah, this is called the Jedi Mind Trick, and it is an absolutely delicious cocktail. It's got some gin, aquavit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Scandinavian thing?
Scandinavian alcohol. Some control, the orange liqueur, lemon juice, and some simple syrup, and shaken and poured right into this beautiful glass.
Soup, it's got a great fruity flavor to it.
Yeah,
it's not overly sweet. There's definitely some sweetness to it, 100%. But it's not like it's syrup or anything. It's not like that.
It's perfectly balanced.
Yeah, very much so.
Good drink, yeah.
Very much so. And you don't get, there's a little bit of the gin finish, but it's so subtle. You know what I mean? Like, so if someone is maybe not into drinking like, strong alcohols or whatever, this you could drink okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's delicious.
It's really good. It's really good.
And, it's properly titled and perfect for our conversation on Bad Batch Season 3. And we're going to get into that right now. So those of you guys that don't know, sorry, I gotta take one more sip.
Take a sip. You've earned it.
Bad Batch is the story of these clone troopers, the Clone Troop 99.
Yeah.
And they are quote unquote defective clones.
Yeah. There's something wrong with them. They didn't come out the standard, copy.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like all the other clones are, but their defects have are a strength.
Yeah.
On some levels.
Yeah. You got like a couple of like one strong, he's big and strong. Another
one has enhanced senses.
Yeah, exactly. Sharpshooter, those kind of things. Yeah, all very specific, skills. Yeah. And they, survive the Order 66 because they don't have most of them don't have the inhibitor chips on them.
Yeah.
So they're able to survive and continue to be, good clones, essentially.
Right. And they have their ups and downs, with that whole order that came about, and they kind of deal with some of the fallout from that throughout the entire series.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. It makes sense since they're clones. That's a pivotal part of their story.
Yeah. And you really don't know. You don't see a lot of what happened between Clone Wars and then the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Like what. Yeah. Where are they all at? What happened to them? Are some of those stormtroopers? Are some of them clones? Like it's a you don't really know what happens, and these shows kind of fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
About that transition from the Clone Wars into the the Empire stuff. So yeah, first thing I want to say, Mark.
Yeah, talk to me.
Did you call it?
Did I call what?
Omega?
Oh yeah, that's very true. Mark. No. Yeah,
Mark called it. Mark called it because the first thing that Mark said way back in our season 1 episode.
Yeah, go watch that episode.
Yeah, is that Mark believed? What you tell him? You called it.
That it would be very cool. It seemed like Omega would be someone that would be force sensitive, or she would have some sort of force abilities.
Yeah.
And then we thought it would be very cool because that's something that's never been explored with the stormtroopers. They are living creatures, living beings, and every living thing is connected to the force. So we just kind of threw out that concept or that thought. Maybe Omega is force sensitive, or she might have some sort of force powers.
Yeah.
And I feel like I didn't hear that many people saying it, but I feel like that, a lot of people probably thought that I would think,
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And it's cool that
nobody mentioned it.
Yeah, that's true. So go
I'm
back.
just here to set this record straight.
Yeah.
That we called it.
Right
we
here.
called it.
Right. That means all of us, some of you, all of us.
Yeah, we said
we did it.
Omega was we thought she was forced to
right.
And I remember even professional enthusiast Rosie that was on our Obi-Wan show.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, interesting. Like, she wasn't quite buying it. And I was like, well.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by. Trust.
Just wait a couple years and you'll pay out. You'll see. And it finally paid off. So
we're never wrong.
Yeah.
There's the takeaway, everybody. There's the takeaway.
So episo's done.
Good
Thanks
night.
for coming by.
Good night.
We're done. We talked about it. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I needed to say. So cheers, Mark. Good job. Foresight.
My M count.
Yeah, your M count's pretty high.
Well, it varies as
we've determined. Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna get right into some some positives on this show. So for me, just positives, straight positives.
Yeah, that's all good.
I actually liked Omega's arc by the end of this series.
Yeah,
I was kind of mostly annoyed with that character for most of the show, most of the entire show. And then by this season, you actually see some of the growth. Like she has picked up on the training. Yeah, she's grown. She's become stronger and smarter. Or she already is smart, but she became more of a clone, like a clone trooper in like tactical sense. And you see that heavily with her plan to get the kids out. Like she becomes the leader in that regard. She she's the one they look up to, the one that they trust, and she knows she has a plan, she has it all figured out, and that's a big transition from her when you first meet her, or even through the first and second season, like that she is definitely changed, definitely grown. And I liked her a lot more by the end of this series than I did through the course of the whole show. We've always talked about how we don't like the like smart, precocious kid. Just doesn't like. I'm tired of that trope. Like that's an annoying trope that I'm done with. And I was kind of burned out on that by the time we got to the Bad Batch. But I liked her towards the end of this series.
Right on.
And then there's that, and I actually really liked her relationship with Crosshair.
Yeah.
Like obviously we knew Crosshair was gonna have a redemption. He was gonna have to, especially by I think season 2. You see him realize he's been betrayed by the Empire after he has been
the veil is kind of lifted off his eyes, so to speak.
And he'd been nothing but loyal to the Empire. And then finally he realized how expendable he was to them. And for Omega to not give up on Crosshair no matter what, even though this whole time he's kind of been an enemy, he's been trouble.
Yeah.
And she gets him out, and they actually have a connection, I think. And I really liked their relationship. Like Crosshair started to never really became like a joyful, happy guy, but you can tell that he cared. He cared about Omega, and it was important to him. And that was a great redemption, I think, for Crosshair. And then by the very end, to have him want to go back in there to Tantinus to get her back was a very defining moment for him. I think.
Someplace he definitely did not want to go into.
Yeah. And then also that was the impetus of him being able to shake whatever that trauma was that was keeping him from being able to shoot, or to be still.
Yeah.
Like, I think Omega was a big part of that. So giving him a reason to refocus his abilities. So I thought that was strong. Those parts in the show were pretty good, I think.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I agree with Omega. It's interesting because I am a huge opponent of the smarter than everybody kid or smart as the adult kid kind of thing. I didn't hate her too much in this series though.
Okay.
Especially by the end of it, like you said, by the end of it, it all kind of comes together when you see her taking the initiative and trying to figure out ways to escape and everything else she's doing. It makes perfect sense because of the, these mercenaries, these troopers that she's been hanging out with, learning from, getting training from, and all that kind of thing. There were definitely the, I'm the kid, those moments in the series where, she opts to do something that doesn't, make a lot of sense. And I mean, typically the things that she does, it always involves like, saving someone or trusting someone. And maybe that's part of being a kid. You have a natural instinct to do that. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, maybe it's just the way it's done. It comes off as very annoying. But I didn't hate it in this series. I'm trying to, think back to like even episode like the seasons 1 and 2. I didn't hate it. I don't think I hated it that much. So my point is, as far as, like kids are concerned, I think this has been one of the better ones, in my opinion. Again, especially by the time her story ends, not her story ends, but the way the season ends. I thought that makes great sense. I was cool with that. With Crosshair, his story was definitely, that was cool. I think, like you said, I think he's going to come back around. I'm glad they kind of dragged it out. It would have been dumb if like, oh, I'm going to turn on you guys, and then like 2 episodes later, oh, I'm going to come back, I was wrong, kind of thing. You saw that the lessons that he learned them the hard way. It came, at the expense of, whatever you might call a friend. One of those other troopers that ends up being killed in the second episode or just doesn't make it when they're out there. And that sucked a lot. And then when he did just straight up murder that commander, I'm like,
well,
that's like back to Vietnam. That's what the enlisted did with the officers, man. Like, man, this guy's got to disappear.
Yeah, he's got to go.
So I heard.
No, I did like that. No, that was great. That's fantastic. They played the long game, and then when he comes back to the group, he's not immediately accepted. Like he has to prove himself again. You know, and especially with Hunter, man. Like he doesn't trust him. Not that he doesn't trust him, but he doesn't like. How do you just move past that? All that happened and everything that more or less he had. A kind of a cause, for a lot of the problems that they had, and for them to have to put them in a situation where they have to work together to kind of start to rebuild that trust, it was pretty great, I thought. I also liked, this was one more thing that I liked, and I'm glad it stayed this way. I wasn't sure, and there's some theories that I'm gonna maybe talk about a little later, but I'm glad that Tech. He not glad. It doesn't sound shitty. But he stayed dead.
What they did with the story that he sacrificed himself for a reason, and they kept it that way. I've heard there are a bunch of different theories that maybe he was one of those.
One of those special.
Special ops.
I guess,
shadow trooper guys.
I think there's a screen. I think Star Wars Theory may have talked about it, but he had a screen grab of like one of the shadow characters that had like he had like the 2 like goggles. And that, I was like he's thinking maybe, but
that's like a little hint, and they do that kind of stuff in the Star Wars stories, especially with like Dave Filoni and all that kind of stuff. The stuff he works on, he drops like these little these great Easter eggs in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a part where, I don't know if it was the same one, but yeah, one of the troopers, he went to pick up his helmet or whatever in that last episode, and you see it's like there's 2 red goggles that are in, and he just picks it up and keeps going. And yeah, there are all these little nods like, maybe it's him.
That was
Maybe it's
him,
him.
like reconditioned or something. But
Right.
but I'm glad I didn't like for like, oh, it's Tech, and then he like turned around and saves them or helps them out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Or
that,
they say, or his helmet comes off and they
like, oh,
save
shit,
him
it's
some
Tech.
kind of way.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, I don't need to see any of that. Like, I think it made the sacrifice worth it, and then and it stayed impactful.
Yeah.
Like even to the last scene where Omega puts his goggles on her dash when she takes off. It's meaningful.
It would have been really. It would have taken away from the series, in all honesty, the way it ended, because I was pleased with the show. So I think it would have taken away from it if they did bring him back and like they all get this kind of happy ending kind of thing. It shows that, again, like sacrifices had to be made. They are in battle, they are in war, they are fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
And it's natural to think that everybody is not going to make it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they kept it real.
Yeah.
In that sense. Now, again, maybe another 2 or 3 years from now,
we find out.
Maybe they're gonna bring Tech back. I don't know how you would survive a fall like that. But yeah, that's that's the unofficial Star Wars rule, right?
Yeah.
Like if you fall,
that is that
doesn't mean anything,
right? Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything.
But I was. Again, I was happy about that in the sense that it helped the story. It made it a lot
for the
more
story's sake.
Yeah.
Happy with
I was bummed it was Tech because I liked Tech. He was a cool character.
Yeah.
And but that was good. It was all great. Let's see.
One other, I think I know it kind of goes back to maybe it's just a moment in the series, but I think maybe one of my favorite moments. And I watched it again. I think it had more of an impact for me when I watched it again. But I did like that ending where it comes down to it's Hunter and Crosshair have to save Omega on the bridge at the end, and Omega, or not Omega, but Crosshair, right? He's his hand's been shaking, and all that kind of stuff. These guys have been beat up, they've been battered.
Yeah.
They've been going against the dark, Bad Batch.
Yeah.
They were fighting these guys that were like them, but just evil, essentially.
Yeah.
Evil and stronger and all that kind of stuff. So let me just say that I like the stakes that were built up. That they were all essentially, except for maybe Hunter, they were all really hurt, banged up. They had mental issues, whatever the case might have been going into it. So I like when the stakes were so stacked against them. You know what I mean? That they were hurt, weak, and tired, fighting against these guys that are supposedly, they're fresh, they're trained better gear, they're outnumbered, all this kind of stuff. The odds were really against them. The point is, when they were on the bridge and they had to, make that crazy shot to save Omega, because under normal circumstances, that would have been very difficult, right?
Yeah.
So, but they have a lot of faith in Crosshair. So it's dark, it's rainy, they're tired. He's got mental issues. There's all this stuff going on. And then for him to be able, that they still had faith in him and that he was still able to make the shot, even in all those kind of conditions, because he's Crosshair, and the reason why he made the shot was obviously it was for Omega. You know what I mean? He pulled his gear together. I was going to say shit, but yeah, he pulled his shit together to save Omega. And then when she ran to them and she hugged Crosshair, I'm like, well, Hunter was there too. Maybe give them both a hug. But when I watched it a second time, she runs to them, and maybe you saw this, maybe you caught it. I didn't catch it that first time. She runs to them, and she sees them both, and then she tilts her head and she sees Crosshair has lost his hand. Yeah. Right? So that just made it like, that's why she hugged him. She was like, dude, you've got all this stuff going on. You've lost your shooting hand.
Yeah.
And you've made this miraculous shot to show that you're back. You've gotten over your stuff, and you saved me. You and Hunter did it together. I saw that. Okay, that's why you hugged Crosshair first. And I was like, when I saw that again for the second time,
Okay,
just that little nod down at her, at looking at his hand, I was like, all right.
Nice job. Yeah.
That was good. You got me.
Yeah.
You got me. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was good. That was a great moment. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of emotional highs in that part too. Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, especially that last episode, right?
Yeah, last episode was great, man. Yeah, it was very great. And I actually like the time jump was pretty cool. Seeing where how they
the ending. I loved it.
Yeah, at first it was like the first thing that I said was when they're all sitting down under that tree, and I was like, oh, they're gonna end. This is how it's gonna end. And they're not getting back in the fight. Like they're like because they're like, yeah, we've earned our rest. I'm like, dude, the war's about to start, man.
Yeah. No, but I agree though. I think they've earned it.
They did, yeah, for sure they did, yeah. And then and I'm glad they had that next epilogue ending. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. So these guys. So then I was like, okay, you're right. They did earn it. And then now at the point when the battle's gonna come to with the Empire's gonna come to an end. They're old, man. Like they're old and they're
because they age
much faster.
Yeah, right?
Exactly, yeah. And then they seen their share of war, and I understood at that point. I was like, okay, I get it. But Omega, she's still young. Yeah, she's still young and needs to have her journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I was cool with.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Ending
was
perfect sense. Yeah, ending wrapped up like perfectly. I was like, okay, all right, I'm okay with it now. Yeah, because I think I started writing in here. Like I started writing as I was watching it. Like I was like, really, they're gonna end. The fight's gonna end, even though the fight's about to start. Like they're just calling it quits, and they get the rest. So the rest of the galaxy is at war.
Right? Yeah.
But then, but then I was like, oh, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Let's see. I don't any major I had a couple. There's just like these are like kind of like positive nitpicks. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Like there's like I think the show had great details on a lot of things, and there's just one specific thing that made me go back and kind of watch for specific things. Like, this is kind of silly, but like when Echo's like in the last episode or the second to last episode when he has his helmet off and he's talking, and he like puts his helmet back on as he's talking, and then the voice changes as he's talking. Like
I remember that. Yeah,
there was just some cool details like that, or like when they. I mean, this is more for a comedy, but like when they knocked out one of the heavy troopers and the light went out on his face mask.
Oh, did it?
I think that was more of a comedy thing, more for fun, for a comedy thing. But like there's just those kind of details that like showed the operation of the technical stuff in the show. And I think that like that when it comes to animation, I imagine all those things are extra, like a lot of things that go into having to make this like come out. But it's just an extra little detail that kind of adds a little texture to the show as a whole. And I think there's a lot of moments like that kind of like made me stop like, whoa, man, that's didn't need to do that, but that's just a great little added kind of thing. Yeah. So that was cool. So I think well put together overall. Like I'm
gonna jump back to what you were saying. I do remember that part with him putting the helmet on, and then like the voice modulation from the helmet came in. That makes sense, right? So again, you don't have to do that, but good attention to detail. Going back to the ending really quick. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I think everybody probably liked the ending. I loved it. The fact that it was almost like this he's like Hunter's always been more of the father figure amongst the group and all that kind of stuff, especially obviously with Omega. But the fact that he was there to like basically kind of see her off, it was like this kid leaving home to go to college, get a job, go to do whatever kids do when they leave the house, kind of thing when they've grown up. So I love that. I love that they were able to have a quote unquote their happy ending, that they were able to live peacefully. They've earned it. Especially again when it comes to the sense like they age faster, right? So to them from their time perspective, they've definitely they've paid their dues and more than anything else. So I was cool with that.
Seems like that they probably got 5 or 10 years of peace.
It's hard. It's hard to say, right? Because I think Omega was maybe 12, maybe 14. I think maybe 12. I'm not sure how long season 1 and season 3 is, right? Okay, so she might have been somewhere around maybe 13, 14. I'm assuming this isn't like when she decides to leave is right when like let's say for example Luke Skywalker decides he's going to join the Rebel Alliance, right? So maybe she's somewhere in the midpoint of helping with the rebellion, right? So it seems like though maybe like a solid 10 years maybe might have passed,
because
right?
if you're taking the whole thing into account from when the first episode of Bad Batch to the very end, that's probably 12 or 13 maybe years, maybe because I imagine she was with Bad Batch for 3 years, maybe I don't know, maybe 3 seasons, maybe maybe for 3 years with them. So then if you count that to when she leaves, maybe 10, 12
and
years.
It's hard to say because we don't know how old she was when she left. So maybe like when you're a teenager, right? Like if she was like 14 when when it kind of ended, before the time jump, maybe she's 18 now. So that could just be like 4 or 5 years.
True, I mean, because she's a clone also. So
she doesn't age the same way. She is.
No?
I think she ages normally and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, normally, like, just think about like high school when someone's like or in 8th grade, and then they go to, being able to, being a legal adult or whatever. That's like just 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
and
true.
That's a big jump.
That's a big change. Yeah,
it's a big change. So
so maybe she's leaving. Maybe Luke's probably, who knows?
Yeah, maybe Luke's a kid right now.
10.
Maybe by the time when the Obi-Wan series is. Maybe that's happening around the same time. Just to put it like in context.
Yeah, maybe, the timeline.
Maybe. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm sure they're gonna do something more.
Yeah, I imagine we'll
with
see.
it. Yeah.
We probably won't see any more Bad Batch shows. This was the last one.
Yeah, I'm 100% cool with that.
They'll probably pop in and out. Yeah. I imagine.
I don't need to see them fighting again. Maybe just to kind of say hi, check on them, talk to them.
Kind of like in there's I think, was it Rebels? There's one episode where they meet up with Rex and for 2 other
He's
clones.
older, right? Yeah,
they're old. Yeah, but they're on this planet.
Yeah, like farming or something.
They're like sand fishing, like, and they're just kind of walking around in this like very old clone walker, on this planet by themselves, and they're just kind of like living. And so they go out and meet with them. They're older, so they don't really ever. I don't think they ever come back and join the fight, or maybe I don't know. I don't think they do, but that's just kind of one of those like fan service episodes. Yeah, I'd be cool to see them, pop up here and there for that. But I don't need to see them as main characters again, I think. But maybe Omega, who knows what her role is going to be? But we'll probably see her again, I imagine.
Yeah. And I would imagine maybe she. I don't know, because now I was thinking about the Boba Fett series, right? But that series takes place after, after everything, right? After Return of the Jedi. So I was wondering if she might show up in that, because it almost seems like she would have to, at some point, talk to Boba Fett, because obviously, everybody knows like Boba Fett was a clone of Jango Fett. Yeah. Unaltered. And kind of raised as his son, basically. Yeah. And then Boba Fett's like his original name or connotation was Alpha. So it seems like you would have to put Alpha Omega together. You would have to put them together at some point in time. Yeah. Right. So I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know if I want to see any more of the Boba Fett stuff. But.
Yeah, true. But I mean, maybe if we got a second season of Boba Fett, live action Omega would show up.
Yeah, exactly. And
hopefully Mace Windu to,
just put it all together.
Yeah, for Boba Fett to get his revenge, for killing his dad. Yeah, but
you kill my dad, old man.
Yeah, I'd love to see Mace Windu with a robot arm and Samuel Jackson's in his 70s, so just an old ass Mace Windu. Yeah, that'd be that would make me happy. That would make me happy. But no, I think overall, man, I did. There's a lot to like about it, man. I think, and the third season specifically,
definitely,
I really liked. I mean, the first season was cool, I thought. Second season just didn't do much for me at all, man. But third season, I was cool. I was really cool with it. I was much more cool with it than I was for second season. Yeah.
I feel like the season. I mean, when the first season came out, I felt like it was just more of a. It was like hey, we own Star Wars, so here's some cool content. You know what I mean? I didn't think it would end. I mean, the way this ended, I feel like this might be one of the better products that we've gotten from Disney, from Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Which, like, that statement doesn't say a lot, but, like, despite that, though.
Yeah.
Despite that, it's still good, I think.
Yeah. No, it's still good. Yeah. I do like the series. I enjoyed it, right? Yeah. So I know we'll probably get into it in a minute. You know, things you may not have liked about it. Me personally, though, I did enjoy the series. Just to knock out some other quick likes. I liked there was a great like hero's journey that they really kind of focused on throughout the series, I think. It's just one element of the hero's journey, not the whole entire thing. But one element of it is where the hero has to get this or do this thing, you know, whatever it is over here. But in order to get there, you've got to go on this other journey first. You know what I mean? If you want to, you know, get the crystal orb, you've got to go over there and fight that guy and get the key from him so you can unlock the crystal orb. There was hardly ever any just direct lines to anything. You know what I mean? Even when it came to tracking down, you know, when they wanted to find out what an M count was, you know, they went to, what's her name? Festus or whatever that chick was.
Is that Wanda Sykes?
Was that?
Is that Wanda Sykes?
No. Oh no. Yeah. She was in it. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's a good example. So there was her. And then it kind of kicked over to, man, I had her name.
Ventress?
Ventress.
Yeah,
no, wait, it wasn't Ventress. It was...
Fennec.
Fennec, yes, thank you.
Oh, yes, because it's Fennec, and then it's, then
it goes to
Ventress. Comes
yeah,
later,
and I love that she showed up. And I know, like, barely anything about Ventress. You know, I know of her, obviously. But I love that she showed up.
Yeah.
I love that she, you know, was testing... you know, what's her face testing Omega.
Yeah.
And she clearly knows that Omega has some sort of potential, you know, enough that she would want to take her, maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe, but I think it goes in that same thing where it's like, you know, you're too old, because Omega was complaining, I think more than I'd ever heard her complain before, right?
Yeah.
So she's complaining about doing this and doing that. And it goes in that whole thing like, you're too old. It goes into all those classic, you know, Star Wars, Padawan, you know, Jedi things. You know, you've got too much of an attachment.
Yeah.
You know, even like with what's his, I want to say Grogu. Was that Baby Yoda? Grogu?
Yeah.
Like Grogu, he's too attached to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
To, you know, to
become
to follow that Jedi path. And it's the same thing. It's clearly, you know, if Grogu's attached, then you know Omega is attached to her guys. So there's no way she would really be able to follow that path, right? So maybe her, you know, whatever sort of, you know, I don't want to say Jedi power because it's not the right thing. She's no Jedi, but whatever sort of force ability she may have, maybe it will come and her as a pilot.
Yeah, some kind of intuition.
Some kind of intuition. I mean, she's really good at like bringing people together. Maybe it works.
Yeah,
that kind of way.
Kind of maybe more like Leia before the sequel trilogies. Like Leia was like not that she wasn't a Force user, but you know she was sensitive. You know, and she was intuitive, and she had abilities. I think.
Yeah, she has some stuff
from the lineage. But you know, obviously the sequels ruined that. But
thank you, sequels.
But so kind of like that. You know, maybe. And actually, I loved that, man, because even though we were right, we were right that her M count was high. That's already enough to prove us right.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
With the force sensitivity. Yeah, but you can cut it right here if you want to. But I liked that they didn't she just didn't all of a sudden start making rocks float right there on the spot.
Exactly.
Because that would have been come on,
or
that
even
quick.
when they were out on the boat and then she did something with that creature.
Yeah, I was like waiting for that. I was like, oh, come on.
Right.
Don't let that happen.
Don't ray this.
Yeah, and then don't ray this exactly. Don't ray
this.
this. And then you know, Ventress had to do it with her because she's a seasoned, you know, Force user. And I was like a breath. I was like,
are you gonna ruin it? Are you gonna ruin it? Okay, they didn't ruin it. They didn't ruin it.
Yeah,
everybody relax.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, this is okay. So, and then they don't really come back to it except for the answer that she has a high M count, and that's it.
Yeah,
and there's no other follow up to that, which is great. This is
exactly.
perfect.
Leave it that way.
Yeah, leave it that. We have the answer.
Right.
The Bad Batch has a clue to the next, the next step.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, she's not throwing rocks with her mind at Hemlock now, and like that.
Right.
I don't need that to happen.
Yeah, she's not like moving things. Yeah, she's not grabbing, pulling things to her.
Exactly.
Pushing things away.
Exactly. Yeah. I was so happy with that. Where as soon as that, I was like, oh, Filoni. Good choice, man.
Good on you.
Maybe you do know what you're doing sometimes. maybe you do.
Maybe.
Yeah. Still not sure. But, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So,
and that makes sense that there have to be some people that are force sensitive that just never get the, Jedi or Sith training.
It's kind of like a latency thing. It's in them.
It's got it. You can't find every single person or kid or whatever, you know what I mean?
And turn them into a force
every
user,
mutant on Earth isn't with the X-Men kind of thing.
Right.
So some of them fall through the cracks. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, so it's very cool. So I like that. I like that Ventress showed up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's good. It was cool to see her again, and not quite as a Sith either. Like she was like, she was kind of like,
she clearly was not.
Clearly was not Sith anymore. More a little more in the middle.
Yeah, she's like, I'm doing my own thing too. It seems like there is a lot. There are a lot of people that are kind of doing their own thing. Yeah, like no more Jedi, no more Sith.
Yeah, God, that's why this era, this post Fall of the Jedi, is my favorite era because of that. There's a little more. Like there's a little more, I don't know, room for growth and room for different kinds of stories, different types of people. Even Luke, man, in the original trilogy, he's not a typical Jedi. He's not following the path exactly the way it was in the past. He's like doing his own thing. Yeah, doing his version of being what Jedi was. Great, man. That was great. I love that era, man.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, so I said Ventress. What's her name? Finnick.
Yeah, Finnick.
Yeah. That's cool that she showed up. I think there's some of my favorite things. I think everything else, obviously, like the art of it, obviously is very cool. There were some really great scenes where it showed them like flying through the clouds, and those look like clouds. There's a great scene. It might have been even on when they're getting ready to go on that bridge of it's raining outside, and it's like you see the rain hitting the trees and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, those look like real trees. You know what I mean? Like it looks some of the artwork and it looks fantastic. I mean, it's some of it is so good, and then when you see the characters, they're cartoon characters. You know what I mean? The way they look, it's like, man, it's like you guys like took a real live action shot, so to speak, and then you see like this cartoon splashed on. It's like it's almost jarring, but some of the artwork in it is really good. The music in it was great. Love the music too. A whole bunch of positives. So negatives. What have you got?
Negatives. So I don't really have any like major negatives. I've got a couple of nitpicks in there that I know is like
you would have had a bunch.
The first couple episodes, it took me a minute to get into it, and I was just kind of like picking things out that were like bothering me. Yeah. And I know I said the positives were like attention to detail. Yeah. But there are some other things, like there's that one scene when they're trying to escort the senator. Yeah, and like they're trying to be sneaky and stuff. He's in his full senator garb and outfit, like just walking through the street, but like trying to sneak. But you're in your full outfit, right, in the middle of the night. Like people are gonna see you. Like,
get a costume. Buddy.
Don't be a target. Like you're being a target if you're trying. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so that's kind of nitpicky things that kind of took me out of it in the beginning. But I don't really have too many negatives. But the only thing that just continues to bother me about modern Star Wars is how they're still trying to tie it in to the sequel trilogy.
Man, I feel like they got like an anchor around their neck, and they're all like, that's everybody's goal. Yeah, whatever you do, make this work.
Yeah, tie it in somehow.
Yeah, make the whole Rey story work. Not Rey, but that whole that later trilogy.
That later trilogy, right? And so there's things like I mean, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think the Project Necromancer is from the Legacy, like the books. I think it's in there about how Palpatine tried to extend his life. But, to me, like from my lesser knowledge, that ties into how Palpatine somehow returned in episode 9.
Somehow.
Like how's that a line in the movie? Somehow Palpatine returned. Like how is that a line in the movie?
Like, you want me to say this?
Yeah, this is the explanation of how he comes back?
Right. Yeah, I can see him going to do the writers, going to the director. What's supposed to be? Is this what I'm going to say?
Is there more to this? Or is this, are we following up on this later? Right. No, we're not.
Nope, that's what we're doing. Yeah, and I want you to say the line.
Right, yeah. And now it's like they're like, okay, we screwed up there, but let's justify it.
Yeah,
Project Necromancer.
It's all. It feels like all these. Well, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of these series.
The Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, it's been justifying the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the M count studies. Oh, well, if we can find a way to create beings with M counts, we can maybe create new people, bodies, or ways to extend our life, or somehow, or whatever the case was. And it's feeding into the bullshit. Like it's helping to justify the shitty Star Wars. Like I'm sorry, you're not gonna make me forget about how bad those fucking sequel trilogies are.
Right.
You will never make me forget about that. And the more you try to connect these like better shows and better series to it, the worse you're making it. Like I'm fucking sick of it.
and it just brings down the series because the movies we already hate.
Yeah.
The movies already hate. That's a done deal, but so now when you've got an anchor around a series that's the movies are bringing it down where they feel like they've got to connect it, they've got to do this, they got to do that. They're doing everything in their power. It feels like they're doing everything they can to justify all the stuff they did in those movies. And maybe they had this all planned out, years ago, years before the next series came out. I doubt it. Yeah. Because it's such a mess, and you're getting different directors, and they're all changing the story, and they're changing whatever. It doesn't jive. It's not believable. So it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because like I think back to like Mando season 2, right? We see Luke, and we see him. He's building the new Jedi Order. Like he's in the process of doing it. But we already know that in the sequels it fails, and Rey's gonna be the one that builds the new Jedi Order, which is fucking bullshit, right?
Right.
So like they're like kind of throwing these things in there, like, oh, this would be cool if this was all contributing to Luke building the Jedi Order, like he did in the book, in the Legacy books,
Yeah.
Like that was great. That was all awesome, and all these things, Bad Batch, Mando, Rebels, all these things could have tied into that amazing sequel trilogy that we should have gotten, but instead it's all tying into these shitty ones, and they're just continuing to try to justify them. And it's like, you can't keep putting a new coat of paint on this piece of shit because it's still a piece of shit at the bottom of it.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
underneath.
And so it's always just that lingering thing that you think about, regardless of how great this show is.
And they make you think of it because, like you said, they link it. They everything, not everything, but once the big payoff is about to, be paid off, it brings it right back to those movies. It's like, man, I'm trying to get away from this, and you guys keep shoving it in my face.
And then even at the end when it all gets destroyed, like, okay, well, Necromancer's done. That's okay. We'll just divert it all to Stardust, which is the Death Star.
Wink.
Wink, wink. I mean, cool. And then obviously everyone knows that they're collecting kyber crystals to build the Death Star. It's all probably the Death Star and all that shit is in there. But it's like, hey, but before that, we had Necromancer, which eventually ties into while Palpatine's still alive, huh?
I know. So somehow the whole Necromancer thing comes back into play.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I think it. I mean, obviously it did in Mando season 3 when he's fighting Moff, right?
Yeah.
And then he has a bunch of clones in there, and it's obviously that's a part of it. Like that contributes to it. And it's like, I don't care, man.
Yeah.
That's what Mando season 3 was horrible, by the way. So, but I mean, it's just like it's like it's a little bit of I don't know, a tarnish. Mint, is that a word?
Yeah,
a little bit of a little bit of a
I'm
stain. You know what I mean? Like on what could be. It's great except for this little part that's tying into the bullshit.
Yeah,
and then it's still great again, but then a little bit of bullshit.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that it has to be tied, like looped in with that. You know what I mean?
Right, with with what nobody currently likes.
Yeah, exactly. And then continue to double down on it, like
Yeah, man, they won't admit, like we talked about that before. Like they just can't admit they can't admit they're wrong. They can't admit like, okay, maybe we messed up here, kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, nope, just keep doing it.
The answer is
just
to continue pushing it out. Like, like there are, you can't be blind to the criticism, right? You can't be blind to the even like the big YouTubers that talk about it or South Park that made fun of it, or you can't be blind to. You have to know that it's out there. The criticism is there, and you have to. I don't know, unless you're that arrogant, you know what I mean? You have to know that there's
like
criticism
that's what it is,
to what you guys have done. And I don't know, whether it's owning up to it and admitting it, or, shifting gears a little bit or whatever. But like there has to be an adjustment to it, you know what I mean? Because you can't keep pumping out these good shows that tie into that crap.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like they probably think these good shows are propping them up so they can turn around and be like, oh, well, wait a minute. You see all the stuff that we talked about over here. These shows justified it, way back here. So it all makes sense. So at this point, it's almost like they're kind of forcing you to get on that train, whether you want to or not. You know what I mean? Like everything that they're doing it leads into trying to justify what happened in these movies. Yeah. Everything that they're doing. So everything that you watch, it just pushes you that much closer, whether you want to get on board or not.
Yeah. But you know damn well that they didn't have that plan when they made that movie. Like when they put out Rise of Skywalker,
right.
They didn't have an answer to why Palpatine returned because somehow he did.
They would have.
They didn't have an answer.
You would have done your job and been like, "This is how he returned," or whatever.
And I mean, I don't even know where Bad Batch was season 1. I mean, I don't know how far those were apart. Yeah. But I mean, was that on the horizon, or was Mando season 3 on the horizon? Like those ideas, I can't imagine that was a part of the plan. They're probably like, "Oh, no, shit.
I don't think so either.
Like, we fucked up. Let's try to justify it." Right. Yeah.
And that's the order that went out. Yeah. Whatever you're making, make our movies work. Make our movies canon. So everybody that's hating on them right now, they have to acknowledge it, or they have to justify it, because everything else in the Star Wars world is supporting it. You know what I mean? All this, the top of the pyramid is the garbage, and the base of the pyramid is all the decent or whatever. Is basically everything else Star Wars related that is propping it up. Yeah, so
it's unfortunate, but
it's very yes, it is very unfortunate.
I mean, that was really my only negative. It's just that that was in the back of my mind this whole time when I realized that when they were testing her blood, and then the M count thing comes out, I was like, all right, I already know what they're doing now. Here we go. I already know what they're doing now. And then, and that was it. And I was right, So it's kind of unfortunate that kind of was like lingering in the back of my mind the whole time I was watching it, which kind of sucked. But
right. Yeah, I wonder who else was watching that thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? I feel like there's no way you cannot. Yeah. You have to, but yeah, anyways, as far as me, negatives, not really. I mean, that's definitely the biggest one. It's like that whole, what is it, like that 50-pound or 100-pound elephant in the room. You know what I mean? It's just it's always there. Yeah. Other than that, I can't think of too many any real negatives. Not really. So yeah.
All right, okay.
Well,
cool. Other than that, that's that.
No negatives at all. I mean, other than that one.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to not like about it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's an animation, so
again, different, kind of different criteria because it's an animation.
Yeah, you kind of watch it in a different way, and there's, I don't think everything's perfect, but I mean, for what it was presented as and the way you're supposed to watch this type of show, there weren't really a lot of problems with it. And the show by itself was fantastic. I had a lot of fun watching it. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna go back and watch season 3, or maybe the whole series one more time through.
Yeah, that's actually, I was thinking the same thing, that I actually want to watch this whole series again. Actually,
but because I don't remember a lot of the first season. I just remember how the second season ended, and I was like, I didn't care. But I did. Yeah, the third season I enjoyed a lot. So I think I want to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So rating then?
Ratings. Let's see. Well, I think Rotten Tomatoes and all that other Rotten Tomatoes, all that nonsense, they give it. Audience scores an 85%. The tomato meter is 88%.
Oh, okay.
I might give it like maybe like a again, Paper Girls, right? You know what? I'm gonna give it. I don't know if I'm just gonna give it a 93. I don't know if it's the same as Paper Girls in my book.
That's your jam, yeah.
That is my jam, man. I feel like there was so much potential there. Let's let that go. But this show, I have no complaints with it, especially the way that they ended it. Yeah, it was effing amazing. It was perfect. It was a great finale. They did what they had to do. They had their happy ending. They've lived good and peaceful lives. and the one that she's always been one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just one that maybe had less training. Like they never treated her. I mean, sometimes they kind of treat her like a kid, but they always kind of treat her as like another one of us that just wasn't at our level. And then like towards the end of the series, you see that she is making calls, she's making decisions, and what she says, they listen to. Like there are some moments where, you know, where Crosshair says something and she's saying something, and they're both thinking about what the other one is saying, and it's like whoever makes more sense, that's what we're going with, right?
Yeah.
Which it makes sense because she's not like a normal kid. She's like a kid from like fucking 200, 300 years ago, where you were a small kid, you were born and you didn't do any work. And then once you're able to do work, like around like 8, get your ass out in the field and get to work.
Yeah.
You know, you get on your way to helping us farm everything else. So that's kind of the kid she was. But I'll easily give this like a 93. Just putting it at, and that's giving like a low score actually, because I think that this has probably been, I know you're not a fan, but for me, the only thing we've gotten really good has been Andor. And I'm going to say this, in my opinion, these have been like some of the best Star Wars products that we've gotten.
At least what in the last 2 years, I guess. Andor is a year
I mean,
ago, right?
I'm not counting like the 15-minute like Star Wars.
Oh, like the Visions or Tales of the Jedi.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not counting those. Those have been fantastic.
Yeah. Visions and Tales have been great.
Yeah, but of like a straight up, you know, series.
No, I think it's for
with
sure
some sort of continuity.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for me, Andor is like the tippy top of Star Wars content.
I thought you didn't like Andor.
I loved Andor. Rogue One, I hate.
Okay.
No, Rogue One, I fucking hate. Andor is like top tier for me.
Okay.
Go back to the Star episode, man. You were there.
Yeah.
You're there.
What's that?
But Andor is for me the best we've gotten in years.
Right on.
But Bad Batch is up there too. I think
cool.
within, if we're talking the last 2 or 3 years, Bad Batch. I mean, I'd probably
Mandalorian was like solid when it first came out.
I think season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian and Bad Batch are closer to the same category for me. Andor is just top for me.
That's cool. Right
on. But so if we're going percentage, I'm thinking 88 for Bad Batch.
So you're around the same as the everything else.
Yeah, the audience. Yeah, I think it's good, but my.
What did you say for Bad Batch or
Bad Batch? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
you said Andor. Okay.
Oh man, maybe I did.
No, you.
Yeah, this,
maybe you didn't. Yeah,
Jedi
I know, right?
Mind tricks, playing tricks on my mind, man.
I'm gonna move that out of the way. I'm gonna move that out of the way.
I think my thought process for the whole time I've seen Bad Batch from when we started, and it's changed now with season 3.
Yeah.
But my analysis has always been, this is basically Clone Wars without the Jedi, which to me is like, I need some more Jedi. I need some people with lightsabers. That's what I need, because the way we haven't had a good series about Jedi or with lightsabers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the last couple we've gotten are pretty, unfortunately not great.
Yeah.
A little bit of letdown. So I just felt like I was like, I don't, because it just reminded me for a long time of like the Clone Wars episodes that were like about the droids or about like the characters that I just don't give a shit about. The filler episodes.
Like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah,
right.
Even like this one, and I think it's in season 2 that they go for Bad Batch. They go on like a treasure hunt, and I was like, I don't want this filler episode where they go hunting for treasure. Like, it's not interesting to me. I don't care about this. Yeah. I kind of felt like that through some of the Bad Batch series.
No, I would agree. But, I feel like that's probably what I feel like that's what a lot of the series was. Just some kind of just some little some cool, some fun adventures. Little random adventures kind of thing. They really brought it all together with this last season.
Season 3 was
especially like the last few episodes.
True. Yeah, but season 3, man, there wasn't a single filler episode, and all the episodes there was a through line. Like there was a focus through this whole series. Or through the whole season. And I was great with it. I loved it. So so I'm gonna 88, maybe 89. I think it's a very solid show. Yeah. And drop what you're doing, man.
Drop what you're doing.
Go watch this series.
Watch it,
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, one of the best. One of the best things that Star Wars has put out in a number of years, especially from their animated. Well, just period.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's the case. Yeah. But even outside of how bad everything else is, not even comparatively, this
is still good.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, just bottom line, this is a good show.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right
Cool. All right, that's it for Bad Batch then?
Yeah, man, that's Bad Batch.
Yeah, we did it, man.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it, please.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think about it. Because,
please.
We're curious about that. I
Yeah.
know we gave glowing reviews for Fallout.
Yeah.
To everybody out there that's been seeing our Fallout stuff, there've been a lot
commenting on it.
People commenting, a lot of positive, but a lot of people
Yeah.
that have been saying things like that they're not fans of Fallout. And, you know,
Yeah, but we love all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole point of it is this is, you know, it's kind of your moment to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you want to say something about it, if you want other people to hear what you have to say about the show that you watched, that you like, that you maybe you didn't like, and you want to comment on it.
All respect, man. Yeah, I mean, it's all about 100%. All about having this discussion, which we love to do. And then that's, I mean, just because you and I are having this discussion here, doesn't mean you guys aren't a part of the discussion either, which is great, you know. And that's been nice seeing all these comments and stuff. People saying things and having their 2 cents as well, you know. But respect all around, man.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, but thank you guys for sure for checking this out. Let us know what your thoughts of Bad Batch are. Anything we're gonna do this week before we wrap it up?
You know what? Really quick, I'm just gonna say I didn't get a chance to say it. Like a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Mexican American Film and Television Festival.
Oh, right. How was that?
It was fantastic. For one, let me just start off. It was at the Harmony Gold Studios.
Oh.
Now, for everybody that doesn't know, Harmony Gold is the one that brought us Robotech. So I really want to sneak around the studio and see if there's any sort of Robotech stuff laying around. I did not do it.
Oh, you didn't sneak around?
I didn't, because I'm all about sneaking. When I went to the, it was on the movie lot.
The Sony movie lot?
Was it Sony? Was it?
Or it was the Sony lot.
Was it Sony?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I should get the video and we'll post it.
Yeah, you should. We'll post it up. Yeah.
I got on the lot and I just did what I wanted.
The amount that you, I was... Like, I was shocked, like the amount of pictures you took, like the amount of square footage you covered walking around that lot. Like, I'm pretty sure you,
that's, you can't be there. What are you doing
you're
right
supposed
now?
To be there. Yeah,
right.
you're.
I was like their number one security.
Private
priority.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Give yourself a private tour. The amount of pictures you're sending to the group.
This is my own private tour.
You're just sending all these pictures to the group chat. I was like, dude, where are you right now?
Why are you not arrested?
Yeah, you're just on the Sony lot, just walking around
taking pictures.
Unsupervised.
Shit where you're not supposed to be. Unsupervised. That's the story of my life. Unsupervised. That's a great title for me.
Yeah, if you ever start your own podcast, man, it should be called Unsupervised with Mark Pope.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd watch that show.
All the nonsense. Anyways, yes, the Mexican American Film and Television Festival. It was fantastic. I met a lot of content creators.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Cool.
Especially, I went there to see one called Unbroken Sky. And it's basically about a person that came over here, illegally. And the cool thing is now he lives in America. He's a teacher.
Oh, nice.
Married. I met his son. His son is fantastic. His son is a creative person.
Nice.
It's a fantastic story. But I was able to go to lunch with some of these guys that, the director, the producer, all this kind of stuff, just out of nowhere. It was, I was hanging out with my friend, Joseph Lyles, Dr. Lyles. Thank you, sir. He's one of the production assistants on the show with that movie. It's just a short film.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm rambling. But I was able to just hang out with them, just have lunch with them. And they were all of these people that you would think might be snobs, like, oh, I make films, I can't be bothered with you.
Yeah.
The most giving people I've ever come across, just ready to help.
Really?
Anyone that has an idea, that wants to do anything. It blew me away how, just in a nutshell, how cool they were. So it was extremely motivating to meet these people and just to hang out with them for a little while. And there were no attitudes. I was, like I said, from the producers all the way down to the actors in the film, and man, the actors were the coolest people. And
Nice.
it's funny because one of them was like she was very normal. She was there with her boyfriend. They're into anime. Obviously, I pitched Geek Off the Street. Obviously,
got it. Yeah.
got to. So yeah, they're into like anime and all that kind of stuff. And one of the other guys is like, if like Dos Equis, if that most interesting man in the world thing was real, it was this guy.
Nice.
He's from Spain. He's traveled. He's been on soccer teams. He's acting. It's his story is crazy. It would be nuts. So it was a fantastic experience. So thank you to all of you for just like, again, just letting me hang out with you. I just met these guys.
Yeah,
they've all known each other for a while. I just stepped into their world, and they were like, come have lunch with us and all that kind of stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
It was amazing, man.
Yeah.
These independent content, these independent movie creators, man, short films. It was fantastic. It was so motivating.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, I was like, I went to my friend Stacy. She's an actress. I went to the short film festival last year.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, man. So many talented films and people.
Yeah.
Not super well known, but man, very, very just Very,
it's
very
motivating.
Cool, very
it's
motivating.
yeah.
Cool to be around those people, and if they're like-minded like you are, not like the typical.
Hollywood, you can't. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What you think of the typical Hollywood thing.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah. What about you? Do you do anything? Anything?
I didn't do anything interesting. Not really. But
what are you watching?
I started watching. Oh man, and this is I'm kind of sad about this. I'm about maybe a season and a half, halfway through the second season of the X-Men animated series.
Oh, the new X-Men?
The original one.
Oh, the original X-Men series.
And
oh, really?
Man,
Okay.
I'm having trouble. It's not aged well.
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
Very well not aged well. I think. And
man, I haven't thought about watching that original.
I was
X-Men
trying
series.
because it's just been so long, and I know that this is a sequel. I know you don't have to watch that. But I mean, I know it's a sequel. It is technically follows the original. Yeah. Right. And so I wanted to try to catch up on it. And I'm struggling.
Well, I can't imagine that aged well.
Not at all. Struggling, man.
Not at all.
The dialogue, the voice acting, the stories, it's all.
It was a little hokey. It was a little hokey to begin with, in all honesty.
Well, I mean, and not to age you, but like I was probably 9, 8 or 9 watching this series.
I was 100% like an adult. I was.
So you're an adult at the time, I imagine, right?
Man, how old was I when that came out? What year did it come out? Do you remember?
I think like 96 or 95, 96, 97 maybe.
Was it really?
It was in the 90s, or 90s, early 90s maybe.
I'm thinking it was somewhere around the
early 90s?
Like early to mid 90s.
Okay,
early to mid 90s. Because the reason why I remember that because I was working at a job and I was talking with somebody about it. And he was like saying, "Oh man, you're a biter. You're new to the X-Men." And I'm like, "Oh really? Oh," and I was like, "Oh cool, great.
Right,
Oh, so you know about this?" And he was like, "Oh well, wait a minute. Well, you know about this?" He's like, "Oh yeah."
So you put him in his place, because you're actually reading the books.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. So you're the one that's new to all this.
But it made me think though, because I remember I brought up to you that I rewatched some Power Rangers episodes, and they're horrible. They're very horrible.
Well,
and
let me just say,
you were saying that you back then you didn't think they were very good.
I was just about to say, let me stop you right now. They've always been horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
They've always been horrible, but for a kid.
It's amazing.
You're going to love it.
That's what I'm thinking. So I think two things.
Yeah.
Nostalgia is driving a lot of this. 100% nostalgia driving the X-Men 97 series, I think.
Yeah.
Because that animated series is not aged well. I don't think I can watch any more of it. I think I'm just going to go right to 97.
Yeah.
Start watching that. And two, I don't think I like the era that I grew up in. I don't think I like the 90s, man. The more that I go back and revisit these movies and shows and shit.
You have to like the era you grew up in. That's like mandatory. It's mandatory. Every kid has to like the era they grew up in.
The 90s do not seem that cool, man. Like if you were your age in the 90s versus my age in the 90s, man, I don't know, dude. I share your opinion now because now that I'm going back and watching all these things that I enjoyed back then. Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't like the 90s. And it feels very 90s. Like the
you know what, though? I wonder if I was, because my era is the 80s, right? So I wonder if I was like, your age, 17, if I was...
17 now?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, cheap shots.
On the uptake here, man.
Little
Sorry.
punk kid. No, if I was like in my 30s, looking back on something from the 80s, I think music I would probably be okay, but maybe some of the TV shows I wouldn't. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
But see, like some
But I could be wrong though. I mean, because I think I did buy a lot of like, they got Thundercats on DVD.
Yeah. No, I get, because I mean, like I even look like, but some things age well though.
Yeah,
like,
some things
Back
do.
to the Future, one of my favorite movies, still holds up. Beverly Hills Cop, I watched. Three Amigos. Spies Like Us. Like I watch a lot of those movies.
Spies Like Us,
and they're fantastic. They're still good, but some of them don't age well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, music from the '90s, I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
'90s and the early 2000s, I'm a big fan of that era of music. But yeah, man, just some of these things aren't aging well. You know, and they don't. Yeah, they just don't.
Maybe we should do a show on nostalgia one day.
Maybe
we got to think about that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. And also, I also started watching some Sandland.
I haven't watched yet.
We're covering that next week on
then
the
I will
podcast.
start watching.
Yeah. But I like it though. I'm 2
Nice.
episodes in, but I do like it. It's charming and endearing in that Akira Toriyama way.
Yeah,
it does.
I think it has like a little bit of like that feel of Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's more a little more innocent, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It is. It's very. It's funny in that way that it's innocent, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's only 2 episodes in that I'm in so far, but it's pretty good. So
nice,
it's pretty good.
Nice. That's cool.
But yeah, I think that's basically it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, man. Let's call it.
Are we done?
We did it again.
We did it again.
Yeah.
We handled business.
Right. Yeah.
You're
and go
welcome.
watch that Bad Batch, the episode that we did on Bad Batch. Well, again. We call it. It was right here years ago.
Yeah, I think we called it
clearly
on the Bad Batch episode and the Obi-Wan episode. We called it both times. There's a record.
Are we that good?
Yes, we are. There's a record of it. You're welcome, world. Yeah. If anybody else says they called it first,
they're liars.
Yeah, they're liars. As you heard it here on GOTS.
Right. Nate the Baloney. We called it first.
You
called it.
He didn't call it. He didn't even know. Yeah, he's making the show. He didn't know it was going to happen.
This guy's clearly
that's the foresight. That's the Jedi foresight that we have.
Yeah. Jedi mind trick, right?
Or it's that. That's just talking right now. Anyway, but yeah. So again, next week we're covering Sandland. So if you want to catch up and pay, final respects, is that the right word to Akira Toriyama? This is one of his last.
Yeah.
This is his last series that he's that I think was gonna come out under his name.
Yeah.
I think there's a few Dragon Ball movies that are down the line that have his name on it, but this one specifically is the last series that he did.
When he did, a while ago, and I think they started. Yeah, but this
stopped, and then they started again and then finished. I think the first arc or something of it. So so we're gonna get into that.
Yeah,
might get a little emotional because Sensei Toriyama, but we're gonna cover that next week.
We'll try not to cry.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, as usual, thanks you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. My name's Trent.
My name's Mark.
And this has been
Geek Off the Street.
Ignite that thing. Wait, hold on, let me get the other one.
Get the other one. Oh, power on, baby.
How do you power on it?
That's how you power it. Oh, get some.
Oh, wait.